Hi everyone, it's Nichol Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to share this kitchen scene card featuring new stamps and dies from both Colorado Craft Company and some background stamps from Hero Arts. So these are both brand new products from May releases or summer releases. And I love mixing and matching from across different companies. Also, we are going to be using some lawn fawn. So really a kind of a hodgepodge or a mix and match kind of card today. We are going to build our background. So I looked at the new stamps, background stamps in particular, from Hero Arts from the summer 2021 catalog. And I think that the checkerboard, the slanted checkerboard, would be the perfect flooring for a kitchen scene card. This was in my mind. I think I already had the Anita Jeram stamps when these came in the mail, and I knew instantly that this is what I wanted to do with these products. There are so many other things you can do, but I do think if you love scene building, this is a fun idea. So I only stamped the floor, kind of quote unquote, on the bottom part of a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel of smooth white cardstock using Simon Says Stamp slate gray ink. So not quite black, just a nice deep dark gray. Then I am going to stamp the Hero Arts brick wall bold print. Again, another fantastic bold print that I really felt had some great scene building qualities. In this case, it's going to be kind of that subway tile type look. I just stamped that on the other part of the card. It doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to be super nice and neat, with some Simon Says Stamp fog ink. So I really wanted it to be a little bit lighter and give that illusion of a backsplash. We're going to set that aside for a second and stamp our images for our card. We're going to be using a combination of stamped images. We've got our cat cooking, our little chef cat here. He's part of the Dad's Cooking stamp set. That was from the May 2021 Colorado Craft Company Anita Jeram release. And then this stove is from the Lawn Fun Sprinkled with Joy stamp set, which was a holiday stamp set from a couple, I want to say a couple years, but it's been a little bit. It's not super new, and it has some interactive add-ons and all kinds of good things, but we're going to build a kitchen around these images and the backgrounds we just stamped. I stamped my images on Neenah smooth white cardstock with jellyfish no-line coloring ink. Yes, that is jellyfish ink, and I know it's so much darker on the Neenah than what you're used to probably seeing in my videos, because I use it a lot on Bristol for coloring with zigs or tombos, but it works for Copic coloring as well. So I did some no-line coloring with Copics. I know I've mentioned this when I've done it in the past because I don't do it all that often. I don't do the no-line coloring with Copics that much. I want to get better at it, so I thought this was a great opportunity to try. You can use any coloring medium you like. You can even stamp these images with a black ink and color them in. I have really been particular, or not particular, but really enjoying the no-line look for many of my cards. And one of the reasons I chose that today is because we're combining not only stamped images, but die-cut images to build this scene. I wanted it to have a little bit more of a seamless look. Even though I'm going to need to use coordinating dies to die cut these images, I guess I wouldn't necessarily have to. The stove would be easy to fussy cut. The other images, not so much. I know I've said this before, I don't particularly love fussy cutting, and especially something this detailed, so I definitely would not be fussy cutting that. because of that, and because the pots and pans and dish towel and the wooden spoons and things are all going to be die cuts, and I'm going to color them in with Copics to match the theme and feel of the card, it was really important for me not to have some harsh black outlines for these images. That is just a personal preference. Definitely do whatever you like to do. I am going in with a fine tip black pen and drawing in the face and whisker detail, as well as like some buttons and things on his chef's coat, anything like that. This is kind of, I say kind of, the Dad's Cooking set. It's called Dad's Cooking. However, it's geared towards Father's Day, but there are other sentiments in this stamp set to make it more versatile, which I very, very much appreciate, because you may not want to use it just for a Father's Day card. I ended up not making mine a Father's Day card, at least at this point. I think you really could add a Father's Day sentiment inside the card. I left mine blank today just so that I could really, you know, kind of decide what I want to do there. But the sentiments included are, like I said, mostly for Father's Day. There's with love to a special dad, to the world you are a father, but to us you are the world. And then there's best chef ever. Now you're cooking, which I'm actually going to use, and happy birthday. So wouldn't that be fun if you wanted to kind of create a card that maybe these chefs are cooking up birthday greetings? I'm thinking I may actually turn this into a birthday card and stamp that happy birthday inside my card design to kind of match the front of the card. So definitely keep that in mind, but you can use any sentiment you want. I love that. So I really wanted to show how A, we can combine lots of companies into one card, and B, how you can take something that might be more of a theme such as Father's Day and turn it into an anytime type of card. Now, just as easily, remember, if you want a Father's Day card, just go ahead and pop that Father's Day greeting inside the card, and that would be awesome. I'm going to continue to color. I have listed my Copic markers across the top of the screen. I haven't used Copics, I don't think, in a hot minute. I used to use them like on pretty much every card. Then I used Zigs for pretty much every card. And now I really have been making a concerted effort to kind of switch what I'm using, just to kind of keep it fresh and interesting, and to show that you don't always have to use the same medium. You could totally do whatever you want to do there. There is no rules in crafting. I love that. These dark lines of the stamp images will tend to fade a little. They're not going to completely fade away on this, but as you add your alcohol ink marker coloring or whatever you choose to use, they are going to fade a little bit. The lines are much darker on the Nina, I have found, with the Jellyfish no line coloring ink than they are on a different type of like Bristol cardstock, as I mentioned earlier, which is okay because I think that the Copics give a little more coverage. For example, the face of the large cat, it was hard to see, especially since I used some warm gray markers there. And so I really referenced the stamp set to draw that back in. Let's color in our two little cats. And I just kind of did an assortment of colors for my cats. I have listed the marker colors across the screen, but I will be listing them out on my blog as well. So if you want a reference for at any time for what I might be using, please click that link below, and it will take you to my blog post that coordinates with this video. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do that so that you never miss new videos. I generally do about 4+ videos a week. It just depends on the week. I know this week there have been a ton. Next week as well, there will be a lot of videos, and you will get a notification letting you know that there is a new project up. A fine tip black pen comes in so handy to draw that face detail back in. I am not actually going to color any of like the little landscape lines down there near the base of their feet. That's just a preference today. If I was doing maybe a different kind of scene card, like a lot of times if it's an outdoor-ish scene, I will do like grass or something. And I did miss coloring these in on camera for the last cat. That was YR 31 and 24. I just wanted to show that there. Let's skip on up to our stove and color this in. It's going to be pretty basic. I don't know why. I totally overthought this. I mean, I literally had to sit and think about it. I colored my other image first on purpose, trying to think, what color do I want to do? And I knew what kind of card I wanted to create. I knew I wanted to design a kitchen around this stove and around the images. It just took me a minute to figure out what color to do all of those. And once I decided on either trimming or die cutting everything from white cardstock and then adding color, it made it a little bit easier. But this stove, I just really couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So I kind of went with I'm hoping it looks like a stainless steel type of look with my warm gray markers. I don't know how successful I was there, but it's good enough because it's still going to be prominent and stand out against the light gray of our countertop and the white of our cabinets, which is really all I was going for. I really wanted it to pop and be the focal point with our cute kitty images that are cooking. We'll just draw in. I'm using a combination of either lighter warm gray or darker warm gray, and then we're going to have a little red stripe going through the back of the oven there. I'm trying to pull in some red elements here and there, as well as like the blues, the blue of the chef's pants, and then some kitchen accessories. And then I decided to do all of my pans in red. In my mind, I'm thinking that they're like red Le Creuset cast iron pots and pans. I don't know why. I actually have a skillet like the one he's holding. I actually have a red skillet like that. And I think that that's probably what influenced that decision. I always think it's kind of funny how you come about the color choices. And with so many neutrals and so much white in this card, I really tried to pull in some color where I could. And I also tried to make it not too girly, because like I said, if I want to turn this into a Father's Day card, I don't want it to be super girly, but you totally could as well. You can make the cat a female cat very, very easily. Just switch up maybe the colors. You could make the kitchen a lot more feminine. I love that. I love trying to find ways to use our stamps in maybe a non-traditional way or something that it wasn't exactly intended for. So this took a minute to color, even though it is so basic, really. I mean, it's kind of just a box, but for whatever reason, it took me a hot minute. Now, the knobs on the stove, I'm not going to color, so I didn't worry too much about getting color on them, because there are die cuts from a Lawn Fawn set. I believe it is the, let me make sure that I call it the right thing, the Magic Picture Changer Oven add-on. So Lawn Fawn has the best interactive cards. I think they come up with the most incredible designs. And even though this is not an interactive card, what I did was I knew that they had this oven set, this stamp set, and I knew that there were some add-ons. And the Magic Picture Changer has like pots, pans, wooden spoons, a pot holder, and then the knobs for the oven, which even though those are made to create the Magic Picture Changer oven, they work with the Sprinkled with Joy oven. So I really thought that was a fun little coincidence, and we're actually going to use those instead here. I've die cut my images with the coordinating dies, and now we need to really build the rest of the kitchen around that oven and around our cat images to see what else we need. This is one of those cards where I kind of had to get the basics down before we could figure out the rest. And I'm giving my thumbs up because I'm super excited. It's coming out exactly like I wanted. In fact, there was really nothing in the creation of this card that didn't go kind of as planned, and that hardly ever happens. So I'm going to take my little Lawn Fawn ruler and I'm going to measure from the stove, kind of where the stove comes up to the wall, so the flat part, the stove top part, to the bottom, which was about 2 inches, and we're going to trim a cabinet 5.5 inches by 2 inches. And I've put those measurements at the top of the screen, so you can kind of maybe start envisioning how that's going to look. And I keep using my die cuts to figure that all out. Then from the top of our counter to the front of the stove is about 3/8 of an inch. So we're going to trim another strip 5.5 inches long by 3/8. And I just put a little pencil mark there on my cardstock, and then I'm going to simply trim that. You could definitely just draw a line if you wanted to and color these 2 sections in differently, or just color in the countertop, since that's mostly, I just colored that. I like that extra little piece of paper. It gives just a tiny bit of dimension, but it's definitely whatever you want to do there. For the cabinets, I did use a Simon Says Stamp basic rectangle. This is by far the smallest little rectangle. I bet this is the first time I've ever even used this guy, but it's a little too tall for my cabinet. So I went ahead and measured that, and I am simply die cutting them, and then I'm measuring it 1 7/16, making a little pencil mark, and then I'm going to run it through again. I do this technique a lot with sentiment strips that I need to shorten. We're basically just shortening that rectangle. Why did I do that instead of just trimming them with my scissors, or my paper trimmer? I wouldn't do it with scissors. Paper trimmer. The die does leave a little bit of that beveled edge to it. It's a little bit hard to see here, but I like how they're just perfect when die cut. So you may have a rectangle die that will work, or a square die, depending on what kind of design you're doing. So definitely check that out. I just went through my stash and picked the first one I saw. For the handle of the oven, I actually did not color the oven in on this because I used the Sprinkled with Joy add-on die. So it's not going to just die cut the outline, it actually die cuts the door. I probably could have just done the outline. I don't really know why I did that, but that's okay because I'm not going to have the door of the oven opening on this card. Colored that in to match my stove because I want that handle to be dimensional so we can hang a dish towel from it. The countertop is going to be some nice light grays, same kind of as our oven and things. I just went a lot lighter with it, so it's a much lighter gray. Complements our subway tile background, and it's starting to look like a kitchen. I do have that Father's Day sentiment with love to a special dad up there for now. I thought I would use that first and I just ended up not, but you can see how cute that would look if you do want to use this as a Father's Day card. We're going to color in the knobs for our stovetop here. It does only die cut 3 at a time, and if I had pre-planned a little bit better, because the pan that the cat's holding does partially cover up, completely covers up one and partially the other one, I would have just used these 3, but I built the stove first, so I did have to die cut it twice. I'm just adding color with my markers. You could also just color in the knobs there and not do the die cutting if you don't want to. I like the little bit of dimension. In fact, I even add more dimension by putting a little glossy accents on those in a little bit. We're going to bend the handles of our oven. This just kind of makes a pull tab. If you were making this a movable or an interactive, I guess, card where the oven door opens, which could reveal a sentiment or baked goods inside, that is what that is for. But also it works great because in the Sprinkled with Joy add-on, there's a little dish towel that can hang over that, which I think is so cute. We're going to use glue dots to attach this right now. So just one on each end. And wow, my trash truck is driving down the street and it is really loud. I'm so sorry, you guys. And we're just going to pop that on. Look how cute. Even though the oven door there kind of pops out, don't worry, we're just going to glue it all down. For our cabinet doors, I don't really want to add color. I want them to be white, but I think they need a little shading to match the rest of our card. So I'm just taking Warm Gray 1 and then Warm Gray 00 and only adding a tiny bit of color to those. And you can see it just adds a little bit of shading. And then we'll go ahead and just shade out the rest of the door here. So we're going to do this for all 3 of our cabinet doors. I only added hardware, and I call it quote unquote hardware, to one of the doors, and I'm actually not going to do that for a minute because I know that the 2 doors on the left, even though I added them because you can see parts of them back behind the cat, they're going to be covered up. So there's no point in adding a gemstone there, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add a little mini gem sticker to the remaining one over on the right, but we'll do that in a minute. Now that we have all of our components, let's go ahead and build our countertop and cabinets. And I completely did not get my countertop put on straight, which is annoying, but that's okay. I got it pulled off. I used a little undo. And then we will put the cabinets down first. And then the oven is going to go right there in between. And I had a little smudge there, so I'll erase that with my Tombow eraser. We're going to add a little adhesive on the back of the oven. This would have been a little easier if I had just used the die cut that came with Sprinkled with Joy. So don't be me, use the other one since this is not interactive. Okay, still have some adhesive here. Now I need to figure out where I want this to go on the background and just simply adhere this in place. And our kitchen is coming to life. How cute is it? I did attach, maybe, no, I haven't attached yet. I've just laid down my cat and things to give me an idea where my sentiments are going to go. And ultimately, I decided to pair sentiments not only from Dad's Cooking, which is where the images come from, but also Better Together, which we're going to stamp the Better Together sentiment first. That is, this is where the fun stuff happens. We're going to line that up right above the oven. I felt like that just naturally was the best place for it. I really like it, even though it's not centered on the card. It's centered over the oven. And for me, I thought that was more important. So let's line that up. In fact, I had a terrible time getting it lined up. And then we are going to stamp it with the Simon Says Stamp Slate Gray ink. This is the same ink color that we used for the flooring. So it's not going to be harsh black, but it's going to be a nice deep dark gray that's going to show up really pretty against the stamped tile backsplash. Then we're going to clean that up. And we're going to grab Now You're Cooking, which are 3 different stamps actually from Dad's Cooking stamp set. and we're going to stamp those. Now, I knew if I tried to stamp them all at once, it was going to leave kind of awkward spaces between the three words. So we're going to stamp the middle word first, which is your, and then once we have that guy stamped, we're going to clean it, remove it, and line up cooking and now, and we can stamp those at the same time since they're not going to be touching each other. So just a little hack that if you're trying to do something similar, when you piece together words or phrases, sometimes they are too far apart, just from the outline or whatever it is. If you want to kind of I always call it buddying them up a little bit, definitely try that because this works really, really well. And I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get them lined up perfectly and my head is in the way. And again, all of these are stamped with the Simon Says Stamp slate gray ink as well. And that is so, so cute. And as the ink dries and is absorbed, it's going to be much more the color of the flooring, and I love it. At first, I was a little worried I wasn't going to love it, but I ended up absolutely adoring it. And I really think that the fonts that Colorado Craft Company uses for the Anita Jeram sets is just whimsical and fun. And I love that because they use very similar style, obviously, all throughout these sets, but you can mix and match. So it makes it really, you're able to extend the use of maybe stamp sets and things by using sentiments from other sets with newer images. I am going to now adhere my images. I did put foam adhesive back behind my cat image and then back behind, I don't know what he's tossing in the air. A pancake maybe? I don't know. An omelet? I kind of colored it brownish. I'm not exactly sure. You guys tell me what you think it is. I think I was imagining something along the lines of a pancake, but that's a pretty big pancake, so maybe not. And we're just going to tuck that little spatula underneath the oven handle. It has foam adhesive on the back of it as well. So there is the base of our card. Now it's time to do finishing embellishing. This is going to be quick. You can see a lot of it already on the screen. That is going to be the dish towel. Let's go ahead and do that in those same blues that we used for the pants here on our chef. And these are from the Magic Picture Changer add-on and Sprinkled with Joy add-on. The towel is from Sprinkled with Joy. The rest of the images are going to be from the Magic Picture Changer oven. And we're going to put a little adhesive on the back of this, hang it over the handle on the oven, and then I'm just clamping it in place with some tweezers to hold that down. And I noticed I still have some adhesive here on my cabinet that's driving me nuts, so I was trying to remove that. And then we're going to color in. I love the pots and pans. This one has a lid. I'm going to color all of them in with red, so it's kind of like a matching cookware set. And we're going to set this one over to the side on the counter. And then the other skillet is going to go on one of the other burners on the stove. I did the handle in black so it just kind of stood out a little bit. And then we're going to kind of glue the pan together and then glue it to the scene. We're just going to set it right here on the counter. How cute is that? I think it is so much fun. I absolutely love it. Little glossy accents for the knobs on the stove. And I know I forgot to color in like the display on the stove. I'll color that in here in a little bit. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do there, so I left it until I got a little bit further in the creation of my card. Because I'm using a glass work surface to color on, you can easily remove the Copic marker from your surface with either like a little alcohol swab or stamp cleaner. Anything like that's going to work to clean that up. And then we'll just color in the display. I started light, and then I thought that blended into the background too much. So we're actually going to pull out our dark markers and color it in a little bit darker, or a lot darker. The final things we have to do here is I really want to use the wooden spoon or the cooking tools there. I want to make them look wooden, and I wanted something to put them in. So I'm going to color these in with E50 and 55, and then I was looking for a stamp set or something. I looked for dies, I looked for stamps, and I ended up using the Fawn Virtual Friends add-on. This is a brand new set from the May release. I know it doesn't exactly have what we need, but we're going to alter a stamp. This planter is perfect. So if you have a planter type stamp, you can make it into like a utensil caddy. So we're just going to stamp that and color it in. And even though you'll see a little bit of the stem from the plant, I don't think it's going to be very noticeable in the finished design. We'll just color this in blue to kind of match the theme of our kitchen. And then die cut this with the coordinating die, trim off the plant portion, and then we're going to tuck our wooden spoons and things, our cooking utensils in this. So let's glue this to our counter first, and then we're just going to tuck these guys in here. And I really think this adds a ton to our little finished kitchen. It's kind of funny, but these might be part of one of my favorite things about this card. I love all the cookings, like the pots and the pans and the towel and all of that stuff. I think it really brings it all together. Finally, let's do a little trio of hearts. I felt like our towel needed a little design, so we're just going to use some little clay hearts, or one here, and then a couple up by the sentiment, because I didn't do any upper cabinets or anything there. I didn't feel like squishing any of that in. I thought a couple of little red heart accents would be really cute. Once we have that, I'm going to create a very, very quick coordinating envelope to go with this card. So we're going to take a Simon Says Stamp Island Blue envelope. We're going to take the chef image from the Colorado Craft Company Dad's Cooking stamp set and stamp it right here with some Simon Says Stamp soft navy ink. I did pick the soft navy instead of island blue so that it's a little bit darker and doesn't fade into the blue of our envelope as much as the same tone on tone would. And there is our perfectly coordinating envelope that matches our card. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this kitchen scene card featuring stamps and dies from Colorado Craft Company, Fawn, and Hero Arts. And really quick, I did add the Anita Jeram little signature from the Dad's Cooking with some black ink right to my card, since I always like that. I like that that's an option in the Colorado Craft Company stamp sets. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Colorado Craft Company stamps and dies that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.